Welcome to another bonus episode of the Paul Ryder tapes. In this episode, we have a lovely interview with two lovely people who Paul worked with at the end of the 1990s and in the early 2000s. There's the legendary remixer producer Lee Deavall, who's based in Warrington, and the mighty Himat, who Paul always called the Guru, who amongst other things is the percussion player in fab band MVITA. That's Manchester vibe in the area with Alfonso Buller. Both are great people and they've got some fab stories to tell.
Yeah, my name's Lee Deavall. I'm a remixer producer. I've done remixes for people like Atomic Kitten, Nigel Kennedy, and I eventually did some remixes for Paul Ryder, who had his band Big Arm at the time.
I'm Himat, the percussionist from MVITA, Manchester vibes in the area, and my frontman is Alfonso Buller, and he was in Cornwall, and while he was in Cornwall, I decided to take on a music production course. And while I was on this music production course, on the dinner break, somebody over the table says to me, "Are you Himat from MVITA?" So I lifted my head up and looked, and it was Horse. I said, "Yeah, it's me." So and I said, "Is that you, Paul?" He said, "It's me, Paul, and Gaz." I couldn't believe that they were there as well, and I thought to myself, "What's going on here?" So on the dinner break, we went for a pint. We had a roll up, and that was it. We hit it off like three naughty kids together. The Guru.
The Guru. He used to call you the Guru. I did know you as Himat, but you were the Guru.
There's a reggae artist in Jamaica called Black Uhuru.
Right, yeah.
Right. So Horse said, "Let's call you Black Guru." So we had fun, like I said, Angela, we were like three naughty kids. And I started asking him questions about people who we knew in a notorious nightclub in Moss Side called the Reno. And there was a guy in there called X, and we used to call him Assassin, who was a drug dealer, a notorious guy. And we all used to go to him back in the day then, in the late 70s.
I never went.
Well, I did. But that was it, yeah. I said to him, "Should we write a track about this guy, Assassin?" He says to me, "Yeah, let's do it." He loved it. He loved that really hardcore, do you know what I mean, underground stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of polished and all that type of stuff. So he says, "Yeah, let's do a track about Assassin." So I've written the track about Assassin. We did it. And then the second track was, he says, "Well, what else can we do now?" So I'm reading the paper, the local paper on a dinner break, and it said Salford Ram Raiders, and all the warehouses are getting done in. So I says to Horse, "Horse," I says, "we're going to write a track about Ram Raiders in Salford, all your boys, all your crew." And he says to me, "Yeah, let's do it." So I penned some lyrics down, a few ideas, a skeleton of a structure. And then I said to him, "I've got a producer friend of mine called Lee Deavall, and I'd like you to come outside of college to Lee's house, to his studio, where we can continue working and writing." So he says, "Yeah, let's do it." So we came down here, I introduced him to Lee.
When Himat brought Paul to my house, and I'll always call him Paul, I never call him Horse. And the simple reason is, my mum was here, and he walks in. Now, I've been doing dance music. I didn't know who the Happy Mondays were. It sounds mental, but I used to listen to heavy metal, then got into dance music. So I didn't know who the Mondays were. And him was like, "I'm bringing Horse down from the Mondays." And I'm thinking, "Who's that?" Do you know what I mean? "Oh, he's a bass player." "All right, okay, bring him down." So he turns up, and it goes, and my mum's there. And then it goes, "This is Horse." And my mum's from Salford. And she goes, "I'm not bloody calling you Horse. What's your bloody proper name?" And he goes, "Paul." And I go, "I'll call you bloody Paul." And Lee, you're calling him Paul too. So I always call him Paul. So he brought him down. And we started doing sort of tracks. We did the Kofi Annan track, then we ended up doing Ram Raiders. And I ended up speaking to Paul. I'm like, have you done any other music? And he goes, oh yeah, I'm in a band, the Mondays. I'm like, don't know it. He goes, oh, you know, mentioned Shaun. I've heard of Bez because I've seen him on TV. But weirdly, I knew who Rowetta was because my friend had used Rowetta for doing some vocals, and Graham Turner and Mark Hall from Graham's in Flip and Phil now, and Mark's in Flip and Phil. But they'd had a band called Bus Stop, and Rowetta had done some session singing for him called Hey Mr. DJ. So I knew her from there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know who she is, sort of thing. I just thought he was a normal guy. I just thought he was just some bass player guy. Didn't know he was in a big band.
He had no inclination that he was a big superstar.
You could just have a chat on a general level with him. But, you know, we did tracks together, like Paul at my house and stuff like that. And when you write music together, you get a bond. No matter how, you know, you could be doing a track for half a day or something. Yes. But if you've created something together and you liked it, you have a bond for life. And that's what I had with Paul. Later on, I got ill, like with cancer and stuff like that. And, you know, Paul was like a real shining light in a dark time for me. And so were you, Angela. You know, like he gave me the opportunity to remix Flashbacks, which are remixed for him. And him and Bez used to play it out when they were doing DJ gigs together. Because I was ill at the time, it just gave me a sense of purpose. Oh, you know, because when you're ill, and especially when you've got cancer, you find that all your true friends will stick by you and contact you and stuff like that. And I know who my true friends are, and all the others will just run because they don't know, maybe they don't know how to handle it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he was there. He invited me to his gigs, put me on the guest list for the Mondays.
But then you were able to return that, weren't you? A few years later.
Yeah, I mean, for me, any get upset now.
I know you make.
Paul was a good friend. Paul was a good friend, and to find out, you know, his child got cancer, and go through a really bad cancer was horrific. Now, obviously, Paul's like a superstar, and they all change the numbers all the time. You can never get hold of them. Obviously, you were on Facebook, and I went through your journey on Facebook, and it was just, you know, I seen Chico, how ill he was getting, how much you were looking after him, and you know, because I've been in Chico's position, trying to put myself, now I had kids, in the position you were in. Watching your child with that, you know.
But you were
send
lovely.
Positive vibes.
You were really
all the
supportive.
time.
It really meant a lot at the time to me. I mean, that's it. When you're going through a crisis like that, any gestures really mean a lot to you. Like it really helps you, you know, get through.
Well, I thought I was being sort of, you know, like sometimes you think you can be too pushy.
No, you were amazing. I'll never forget that. I'll always be grateful to you for how you were. No, it's what friendship's all about, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
But Paul, you do. But like, you know, I was ill, and Paul had his gig in Manchester, and he said, "Are you coming to the gig?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't feel well." And he said, "Come on, it'd be great. You'll feel better. You come to the gig." And I remember, like, I can't even remember. It was in the centre of Manchester. He did his big arm gig. I remember he was outside smoking his cigarette and like, and we were just having a chat outside the back of this place where it was, and it was just nice, you know, seeing him on stage and hearing the music live and stuff like that. It was just, he was a really special person, down to earth.
Yeah.
You know,
and loads of creativity because he was grounded and he had his feet on the ground and all that.
Everyone loved him.
The creativity was there. He was like a rock. He was solid.
Well, you could talk to people. You could say, like, I know, like, doing like remixes for Nigel Kennedy, and we were doing sort of like some dance mixes on his classical stuff. And I said to Nigel, do you know Paul Ryder for the Mondays? Oh yeah, I know Paul, yeah, it was great. And there was that connection. And there was another thing that Paul did. Paul knew I was just like a little remixer. I wasn't a big name or anything like that. But he put me in contact with Gaz Aston at Adidas. You know, he'd help you
To do well.
to keep things back. He'd lift you up. He was the person that would get you and lift you up to make you better. We loved him, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just he was amazing.
He was a nice, creative, grounded soul, and a very, very nice person. I can't say any more than that. Really.
Everyone loves him.
And it was great to know that he knew some of the people who I knew and shared in my life, and that. So that's where our connection happened, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Can you tell me a bit about what it was like when you were all working together? What the dynamic was like, or do you have any good anecdotes of things that happened when you were working together? Just funny stories that you might remember.
I remember one, and we were remixing, and he was in rehab at the time, and I always remember him saying it. He said, and I'll swear now, and I'll try and do a Salford accent. You never fucking guess who I'm in fucking rehab with. Guess who's my fucking best mate in rehab? And I went, who? Tara fucking Palmer Tompkinson. I'm like, that was when he was in London, and I thought, you can't get two people at the opposite side. You got a guy from sort of like Salford who's mates with someone that's related to the Queen or whatever, you know. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and another thing he says to me, I said to him, listen, I said, when we finish this course and all that, I said, we'll have options and stuff, we can do a bit of teaching and help out in the community, because that's what I did. I went and did a bit of young offenders. I went and worked with young offenders, gun bangers, you know, the gangs. I went and got them kids, come here, get over there, come to the guru. The guru will sort you out.
Brilliant. Are you still doing that?
No, I'm not doing that now. I did it I taught for about 4 years, and then I went back into MVITA with Alfonso. So that's where I am now. You know, we're doing an album. You know, we're doing a bit of writing now at the moment, and then we'll be going out and taking it out on the show.
Excellent.
But I said to him, listen, we'll be able to do some teaching, horse, and all that. He says, there's only one thing I can teach you, Hims. So I says, what's that? He says, to take drugs. And I says to him, I'll see you in a bit.
You must have witnessed some of that. Were you aware of what he was doing, or that it was a problem, or?
No, I wasn't aware, because like I wasn't around that sort of scene.
Yeah, I broke out that scene as well.
I remember when Himat brought Paul to our house, and he was sweating a bit, and he was smoking a lot.
Yeah.
And I know he drank lots of Coca-Cola, and like Himat said to me, you know, he's coming off the H or whatever word you said it was.
Yeah, the gear.
Yeah, the gear, and I'm like, what gear is he wearing? I thought he was on about clothes. I had no idea of heroin or how, because he didn't look like a drug addict to me. I wasn't aware of him drug taking.
How worried were you about his drug taking? Did you, as a friend, were you worried for him, or did you think he would just get through it?
Well, personally, because I've not been around that sort of thing, I didn't really know how bad it was. I've obviously seen people smoke weed and have E's and that sort of stuff, but I've never, you know, hard drugs like heroin or crack or whatever. I don't even know what he was on or trying to get off. I had no experience with it, but Himat, you had experience. You told me.
I got on with all. That's what brought me and all together. I mean, I could be a role model and an example to him, to show that you could come away from that road. you can make a change. There is another side as well, horse. You don't have to stay there. You've got to change the record. You've got to move on. I had 3 years with that stuff in Moss Side in the 70s and all that on that substance thingy, on that and the other stuff as well, the nostril stuff. So I had my little period on that thingy, and I come out of it, and I mean, like I took off to India and all that to go and get my help because the medical system down here wasn't really, they couldn't do it. They were just giving me more and more drugs, different drugs, and just topping me up with things. So my journey took me to India, where I got introduced to the Babas, and again, the yoga, the vegetarianism, so the diet change, a complete lifestyle change helped me to get on the path of recovery.
You were in a wheelchair, weren't you?
I got wheelchaired up, yeah, because I got a tumour in the bottom of my spine. But then after all the yoga, and I teach the yoga for 12 years as well, because I wanted to share. I worked with addicts from Moss Side. I used to send them to my class in Didsbury, and I worked with them. So I did 12 years of humanitarian service to people on the streets, Angela, of bringing them into my classes, and I would detoxify him.
If he was in California, he'd have a gold jet now and gold glasses.
Oh, just shut it.
He'd have followers and everything.
No, it was about helping people to change, and you've got to have worn the t-shirt to understand them. So I'd already done that. I worn the t-shirt. I went through it. I knew what that stuff was about, and I knew that it weren't no good. You had to get away from it.
Right. And was he receptive to what you had to tell him?
He liked that. He liked that positive. He liked that positive talking and all that. He liked that. Yeah. Andy could relate to me from the past of the Reno, because I was involved in all that as well earlier on. Yeah. And I'd moved away from all that.
Right.
So right. I was kind of a bit of an inspiration for him to kind of like, if there was a road to follow, then leave that road alone and let's get on this road. Get away from it and get back into your music and get back into your beautiful art and work that you're into.
Yeah.
So off the back of that, they did the track Ram Raiders.
Yeah.
Very spiritually.
Yeah, very spiritual track. Ram Raiders, you know, balaclavas, guns, a lot.
It was like a bit of a fun sort of track, and we thought no one's ever going to put this on radio.
Oh,
because it was so violent.
It's got a police helicopter. So, we just had a laugh doing it.
Fun, yeah. You know, like you said, did you have fun, Angela? You said earlier on, what kind of fun did you have? That was the fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. Me. And if you listen to Paul's bass line, we've got the bass line.
Time stretched it,
so it doesn't sound like his bass.
Oh, interesting.
Like distorted it and did all sorts of stuff with another guy called Paddle. He worked on it as well. But Jason Barron, he died. He was part of the PWL Manchester. So a lot of people, if Jason was here, he'd probably tell you.
He was a great guy.
Paul.
He was a great guy.
Yeah, they're both great guys. When you're older, you lose contact with people. You still think they're there. Like Himat, I just think he'll be there all the time. And Paul, I think he'll be there all the time.
Life's tough, isn't it? It's just a series of challenges, isn't it, that you have to navigate one after another. You think you're cool, and then something else comes from the side.
Well, one thing I've learned is you can't take your friends for granted. You've just got to, if you've got a friend and you've not heard from them for ages, and you think tomorrow I'll see him in the pub next week or whatever, just reach out to him, say, "Hi mate, how are you?" That's it. And don't have any regrets, because we got regrets, from we lost contact with Jason, lost contact with Paul, but Paul's a bit of a different kettle of fish because he's a rock and roll star and they change all the numbers all the time,
Yeah.
Facebook's get closed down.
The only reason Paul changed his number all the time was because he kept breaking his phone or losing his phone or changing his he wouldn't do it to avoid people.
I know. But they're very sparse on Facebook, and
Yeah. Okay, so how will you remember Paul? What will be your most strong memory about him?
My standout memory about Paul was not being the rock star or anything like that, not having an ego, of just being a genuinely nice, down-to-earth guy.
Yeah.
Who you could contact and he'd give you advice and help you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We were crying when we found out about Paul.
Yeah.
Oh.
I found Fonzo up and I was crying. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's happened.
Yeah. How did you find out about it?
Somebody called me and said, have you heard that Paul Ryder's died? So I said, what? And then I phoned Fonzo up, my front man, and I said, Fonzo, I said, I've just heard that Paul Ryder's died. He said, yeah, it's on, because it's on the social medias, on the Facebooks.
Yeah.
I'm not on the Facebooks or any of that, Angela.
Yeah.
So I got the news, and as soon as I got the news, I rang my front man up, who's on social media, and I said to him, I was crying.
Yeah.
I said, I can't believe it. I said, Paul's passed away. I said, what? It can't be true, this, man. And then he says to me, it's part of life, hymns. And, Fonzo tried to console me then and bring me down. But I was crying my eyes out because it really touched me.
Yeah.
It really hurt me right in the heart. It got me, that one. Because I weren't expecting that.
I found out through... I follow Rowetta on Facebook, and she posted it, and I had to time stopped for me.
It's just guts,
the funeral. I found out when the funeral was, and I said to him, "We've got to represent. We've got to go." He would have wanted us there, so he was really ill that day.
Emphysema attack.
Yeah.
You obviously see comments online about, oh, it must have been drugs and stuff like that. And that winds me up because I never saw Paul as a drug addict.
A lot of people jumped to that conclusion, and a lot of the papers did, and that was upsetting, wasn't it?
He never did it in front of us, Angela.
Well, I wouldn't want Paul to be remembered.
I want to share one thing, which is all the time that we were around him. He never ever once did that in front of us.
He smoked.
He smoked cigs. He'd have a pint. He liked a pint, and he liked a cig.
He never drank pints in front of me. Pints of Coke.
Well, he used to like a pint of beer when we was at college.
Well, that was your influence, but I mean, I want people to remember Paul as a nice guy, a beautiful human being who'd help people.
Yeah.
He wasn't, I mean, I know the papers picked up on the drugs and stuff, but that was when in the younger days and stuff like that. But the guy had a family, he had people who loved him, he had friends who loved him, and everyone that knew him, and everyone that's speaking or will speak about him are doing it in their own time because they love Paul. He was a really, really nice guy.
He's just a legend, isn't he? A living legend, isn't he? Beautiful person.
I remember bumping into you, Himat, at a gig, and Paul going, "It's the Guru! It's the Guru!" And he was so excited to introduce me to you. The Guru's here! The Guru!
I hope he spoke in Indian. He's the only Indian with a proper Manc accent.
Oh, that northern accent. Oh, God's sake. Can't get rid of it. There's nothing I can do. I've been to see doctors all over the world. They can't get rid of it. They said there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
But did he invent the name the Guru, or were you called that anyway? Was it just Paul that called you?
No,
that?
people used to call me Alfonso named me the Guru of house music.
Right.
Because I was playing the percussion and all that. So it's the Sikh Guru, the Milian, Himat. And that's how they called me the Guru, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then that kind of carried on, and then when we was in the college and we did the tracks in the college, from just calling me Guru, we kind of messed around with the words and Black a Guru. you know, from Black Guru to Black Guru. You know what Paul was like with words and messing around and stuff like that. So, just for the college course, they called me Black Guru because they were very witty. They were, oh man, there was never a dull moment. We were like 3 naughty kids at school, and every day the laughter, bellyfuls of laughter and jokes and stuff on teachers, on anything that moved in the college, anything, we'd be on it.
Yeah.
And so there was never a dull moment, Angela. I'd just like to share that one with you. You know, like there's too much for me to talk about, you know, because we were laughing every day.
Yeah. How was Paul as a student in the class?
He was good.
Was he?
Yeah. He was quiet. He'd just take his, you know, we'd sit down, we'd listen to what they had to say and all that, and then as soon as 12 o'clock came, it was straight to the pub. We couldn't wait to get out of there and go in the pub and sit down there and talk about, you know, the past and Reno days and all notorious people.
Right.
So Paul had loved that interaction and that banter.
Yeah.
So I'd sit there and talk to him about the past. Do you remember him? Do you remember him? Oh, of course I remember him.
Yeah, but I remember he used to do that, but he also even though he does music, he's a very good person to get some spiritual guidance from and make you feel better. So Paul's the same. He's a real nice guy. Same with him. So I think Paul drew towards him because you get the good out of people.
Yeah.
That's what you're very good at.
Yeah.
And giving advice.
He was great. He came to my house.
Spiritual advice.
He got on with my wife as well, Stella and all that. She loved him. Everybody liked him. We liked him. All my kids and family, we all loved him.
Yeah. Thank you both so much. Really appreciate you giving your time and being part of this. Paul, absolutely love both of you. And like I said, I've never heard a bad word. Always really positive stuff about both of you. So
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we've only got positive.
Positive to say about him and yous and all of you. So yeah.
Well, let's celebrate him by playing Ram Raiders, shall we? I think we need to have Ram Raiders played for sure. That's all we've got for you this week. We're playing out with the fab track Ram Raiders that they mentioned earlier. These songs are going to be released soon on a compilation that we're putting together featuring an array of tracks that Paul wrote with various collaborators throughout the years. You know the drill by now. Please subscribe so that you don't miss out on anything. Give us a nice review, please, and check out the website paulryder.tv, where you'll find lots and lots of goodies and things that you'd like to know. Lots of love and thanks go to Lee and Himat for being truly special souls. And as usual, of course, thanks to the big man himself, the late and great Paul Anthony Ryder. See you all next week. Lots of love.
Black Glistening Productions.